In this video, I'm going to talk about a topic, unnecessary pain, also necessary pain. You just don't know how long. And I'm going to use several companies to show my point. I'm going to use Avila, I'm going to use Scorpio Tankers, Voxter, Amazon, Zoom, and Netflix. So I'm going to start with Scorpio Tankers, actually. Tankers in general, but I'm going to use Scorpio Tankers. Do you remember during COVID when Copy had this video that a lot of us watched, and the tankers were so hot, such a hot trade. Everybody wanted to be in that trade, including myself, because 3 inches in front of people's face, it looked fantastic. We were staying home, right? And then the oil production wasn't able to be stopped, so the oil had to go somewhere. It filled up the in-ground storage, then the rest of it went on the oil tankers or product tankers, and then the rates for the oil tankers and something like Scorpio Tankers went through the roof. We could all see the tanker rates per day. Everybody was agreeing that this was a fantastic trade, and that was around this point, I would say, April 2020. So initially, the stock price of Scorpio Tankers went up like 70%, and people were feeling very, very happy about that. And then after that, the stock went down 65%. Okay? So what I mean is the unnecessary pain was from here, from the top of 25 in April 2020 to the low here. The 65% drawdown was unnecessary. And it happened because people bought in when everybody thought it was a great idea. And because of that, you had to go through the pain of, look at it, more than 2 years. And even from that little peak here to the today's stock price, it's up 83%. Recent peak, almost 150%. But you had to go from that pain, unnecessary pain, for so long to get the benefit. But initially, we all got dopamine fix because we went in with the crowd, more crowd came in, we saw our portfolio go up, and then the crowd left. But a better way to invest would have been not to go when the crowd wanted to go in, but to go in when the crowd hated it, right? Which was after it created a lot of pain. Nobody was talking about it, right? So that is an example of unnecessary pain for Scorpio Tankers. Now, when I talk about Avila, which is an oil and gas play, there was a point of time when I was getting lots of emails to look at Avila and to look at just oil and gas in general. It was to a point where you were complete moron if you didn't think that oil was going to go to $300 per barrel, if you didn't think that natural gas was going to go over $20. You were a complete idiot if you didn't think that, right? So that was the trade, right? So people piled in around that level, and originally they felt again the same dopamine, just like we all felt with Scorpio tankers. Originally, our portfolio, the portfolios of anybody who bought a villa, went up, right? And then oil didn't go to 300. Natural gas didn't go to 20. And there were some problems that the company didn't deliver on the expectations. And as a result of this, now people had to experience 80% sell-off, right? And now some very smart people, from what I understand, are buying a villa stock right now, okay? And I totally realize that right now, when it comes to any oil and gas stocks, today is a much better day to be looking at those companies than it was when everybody was talking about it, right? And now, I personally am not interested in oil and gas stocks, and I hope it's okay with you. I'm just not interested in those companies because I am not interested in those companies when they're hot, when they're cold, when they're very cold. I'm not interested ever in this sector. And I hope it's okay with you. And if you think that I need to be on this trade for you to feel comfortable with this trade or investment, then maybe you don't have enough conviction on your own to be invested in it. So stop asking me to be invested in this sector to make you feel comfortable. If you did a lot of work, if you are comfortable with this investment, then buy it. You don't need my approval. Okay. Now, we are going to go to Amazon now. So, Amazon was the hot stock of COVID, right? Similar to the Scorpio tanker, where everybody agreed at the beginning of 2020 that Amazon was a buy at any price. It didn't matter. At any price, it was a buy. And originally, they were rewarded for following the herd. They were rewarded by almost 100%. And because they followed it, they didn't care what the valuation was. Then they have to go through this pain of seeing Amazon go down more than 50%, right? Now, Amazon is not as bad as Zoom. I mean, Zoom, everybody was going to be Zooming, right? So it didn't matter if Zoom had revenue growth or this or that. Nothing mattered. You buy Zoom no matter what the valuation is, right? And of course, originally, look how they got rewarded. They got rewarded for more than 600%. They got rewarded for that. And then the unnecessary pain of now almost 90% down. Now, that's unnecessary pain, right? That's what I'm talking about. It's unnecessary because it was so obvious. The same thing with Netflix, right? They originally got rewarded wonderfully by buying it at any price. And then this followed by an unnecessary pain of 74%. Now, the same thing works, I believe, in reverse, right? When one way is when you are super comfortable, you want to be with everybody else, you will get a lot of times you will get initial dopamine, and then you have to go through unnecessary pain. But when you reverse it now, and you look at, and I love looking at Scorpio tankers, because here, everybody wanted to be in the trade. Then after it sold off, nobody wanted to be in that trade because the daily tanker rates looked horrible, right? Everybody could see it in front of their face that they looked horrible. So, and of course, let's say you bought it because you can never catch the bottom. Let's say you bought it in August of 2020. You had to see it go down 30%, right, before you actually saw it go up. So you had to experience the immediate pain, which is a reverse of immediate dopamine. You had to experience the immediate pain, but in the long term, you ended up a lot better and you experienced the immediate pain because you went against the crowd. And then there was more crowd, right? There was more crowd that joined the negativity. You saw the portfolio go down even more. But then, if you were right on the thesis, you were rewarded. And there was no end of negative talk for Scorpio tankers during those days. No end. The CEO was a crook. He was an idiot. He was a traitor. Oh, and then they had a lot of debt. They were going to go bankrupt, right? It didn't matter that they had all these ships, that they could sell all these ships separately. Scorpio tankers was the most hated tanker stock out there. Like the people that were long the tankers, they hated Scorpio tankers. And again, they thought the CEO was a complete idiot. He was not trustworthy. He was a trader because he was trading options, and he was like it was just negativity after negativity. And the big thing was the debt, because Scorpio tankers has the newest tanker fleets. So in this space, the ships are financed by debt, right? So when you have the newest fleet, you automatically have the most debt because you didn't pay down the debt yet because you just bought those ships, right? So they were going to go bankrupt. Now, does this kind of remind you of another company that has constant negativity today? The CEO is a complete idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. They have a lot of debt. They don't have cash flow today. They're going to go bankrupt. They're going to go to zero. Any company that comes to mind? No similarities here? Hello? When you go with the crowd, you experience immediate dopamine. You have to go through a lot of pain. When you reverse it, you experience the pain immediately. It's very dark, but if you write on the thesis, you're going to be rewarded. So let's focus on the thesis. Yeah?